Hi everyone, as we turn the calendar into a new year, it's time to focus on the future and figure out how we're going to sell some more homes, right? We've celebrated our goals from last year, we've set our goals for the new year, and now we're going to go about achieving those goals. I'm sure that many of you have a situation with at least one customer who has a home to sell. Today we're going to talk a little bit about how to deal with that situation. Remember first that a home to sell might be a condition, which means that they can't buy or can't qualify to purchase until they sell their home. And it also might be an objection, which means they don't want to buy before they sell the home, but it doesn't mean they can't buy before they sell the home. Today I want to focus a little bit more on the condition concept because we typically become passive when we know that it's a condition. And what we don't try to do is influence the buyer enough to accelerate the process, right? The faster we can get them to list their home, the faster they sell their home and the faster they buy from us, right? So we're going to talk about accelerating when we do have a condition that prevents a buyer from purchasing. But before we do that, we need to talk a little bit about how we identify the difference between the objection and the condition. So how are we going to differentiate between the two? The answer is through effective discovery. The answer to all of your sales problems are almost always through effective discovery, actually, because the sales professional who's able to best understand their customer is usually the professional who's able to best solve the problem for their customer. Now, I know this is tricky and it's very, very touchy, right? Because we're asking them about their financial capacity to purchase without selling a home. We're basically asking them how much money do they make, how much money they have in the bank, right? Those are two things that are very hard to have a conversation about. What I will suggest to you, though, is that this is one of those instances where how you say something is much more important than what you say. Remember that our words reflect very little of what the customer actually perceives. Our body language, our demeanor, our nonverbals are the things that the customer picks up. So if you ask the question the right way, you're going to get a respectful and appreciative answer back to the simple question of, is the home to sell a can't or a won't? So I know what you'd like me to do right now. I know you'd like me to spend a bunch of time giving you all the ideas of how to solve the objection. But the reality is that it's such a personal objection, right, that all I can do is give you some guidance. And so I want to focus in on three things here. Number one, remember your objection handling process. That's all this is. It's an objection, and you've been well trained on how to handle objections. You may not be able to overcome this one, but you should still follow the process and give yourself the best chance possible to move them from no to yes. Number two, when somebody says they won't, what they're really saying is, based on the information they have right now, they are not willing to do it. Your job is to help educate them and to give them the options to consider, and those options may just get them to change their mind from no to yes. And number three, if you're going to get someone to move from an I won't buy until I sell until a okay, I'll buy, you're going to need to get them to fall in love with the home. So remember your fundamentals, right? Focus first on creating an emotional connection between the new home and the customer, right? Because the moment that they start to fall in love with something else, they're also going to be falling out of love with their existing home. And then if you're able to provide those solutions and some options that make a little bit more sense, you may get them across from the no to the yes. Now we're going to talk about the home to sell as a condition. What do you do if you find out that the buyer cannot purchase until they sell their home? This is one that we tend to be far too passive on, and we're going to try to arm you with some information today to help accelerate that process. Your goal here should be not to sell the home, but to get that buyer to list their home as quickly as possible. Set the first domino off in the chain of events that leads to a purchase from you. The key word to keep in mind is that our goal is to accelerate this process. What most of your customers are thinking right now is, I'm going to wait until selling season to put my home on the market, which in your marketplace is probably March or April. What that means for you is that it's going to be 3 to 4 months before your customer puts a home on the market. That's a long time to wait, right? That's a long time to sit back and wonder if this customer is going to convert. We need to do two things. We've got a two-step strategy here. Number one, you heard me say it before when I was talking about handling the objection. We need to focus on making them fall in love and finding their next home. We need to get them mentally taking ownership of their future home as quickly as possible, right? Remember our ABCs, floor plan, home site, those types of things. Get them to connect and start to visualize their life in their new home. That's the first step. The second step is then to make the argument and give them compelling reasons why they are at a disadvantage by waiting to sell their home for the quote-unquote selling season. And better yet, why it's to their advantage to put the home on the market right now in January. So here are a couple reasons why your customer listing their home right now is to their advantage. Number one, buyers are always looking. In large part now, to the ease of access to information, no matter where we are thanks to technology, a customer doesn't have to wait to find out what's going on in the marketplace. It's right at their fingertips. Most people who are thinking about moving probably already have automatic searches set up that push through the information they're looking for, so when a new listing pops up, it shows up right away in their inbox. Number two, and probably most important of all, is that the inventory level is lower right now. Why wait until March or April when everybody else around them is going to put their home on the market? Why compete in an environment that has more supply? What you want to do as a seller is compete in an environment with lower supply. Inventory levels are lower in January and February because everybody is thinking the same thing that your customer is thinking right now. That's why you need to educate them on this opportunity. Being able to put their home on the market over the next 30 to 60 days puts them at a distinct advantage over the competition. Not just because it's out there at a time when lower inventory exists and therefore it might show better, but because when inventory is low, when supply is low, that usually means to a better sales price. And a better sales price means more profit for your buyer. Finally, let's talk about why this is good for you besides the obvious of you don't sell a home until they sell a home. Number one, if they find you here, but they can't buy until here, what that means is there's a whole lot of time in the interim for something to go wrong. Their emotional level may be right here right now, but by the time they get over here where they're capable of purchasing, that emotional level may decline. Worse yet, there's a stronger likelihood that they're going to continue to look and continue to search, and they may find something else. They might go to another builder or see another resale, and you risk losing the customer in that situation. But think about this benefit that you probably haven't considered yet. What's the difference between a customer who sells the home quickly versus a customer who sells a home slowly? The difference is their perception of the marketplace. Why does that matter to us? It matters to us because their perception of the marketplace is going to influence the way in which they purchase, is going to influence the way in which they negotiate with you. So for example, customer one sells their home in February after being on the market for 30 days, and they sell their home for 97% of list price. Customer two lists their home in April, but because there's more inventory, it takes them 90 days to sell their home, and they sell it for 94 or 95% of list price. Which customer is more likely to pay you more money for the home? Obviously, the answer is customer one. The customer who has a better perception of the marketplace is going to be willing to pay more for their home. And that's our goal, right? Not just to sell more homes, but to sell more homes more profitably. So just remember, when you're dealing with a condition and you're not able to close the ultimate part of the sale, you're still able to close an important part of the sale. Your goal should be to gain commitment for that customer to go home and put their home on the market as quickly as possible. By educating them on the benefits, you can accelerate their process. Thanks for watching, and good luck getting some of your home to sell customers who can't buy right now to list sooner so that you can sell them a home quicker.